Okay, recording this video after close trade Monday 18th of June 2012. Hope you had a good day's trading today. Well, we kind of closed up 1340.50, 1.6 million contracts traded, but it was a little bit kind of weaker, a little bit kind of gamed up. Had a nice little day trade I'm going to put on, just show you that on the 1500 tip bar chart first before getting to the longer time frame charts. We had the gap up after Friday's close, Sunday evening. This is the news out of Greece. 10-point kind of gap up, kind of ran out of steam, bearish divergence, Rambo patterns right here, sold off, and we certainly closed the gap and went a little bit further. It's almost like we came back with all these blue professional bars kind of coming in here to the same level that we had blue professional bars kind of last time. Pull back to end of trend, exhaustion, selling on the downside. So we're trying to make some kind of bottom. You can see just after the open, the amateurs try and short this with a Rambo pattern, kind of going short at about kind of 29, 28 here. They get wrong footed and we start going the other way. We get kind of short covering rallies here. That's kind of the initial kind of buying here as we start to break this little pivot high. So everybody's saying no, all of a sudden this is going up. We lose a little bit of steam and then we come into a nice little support level here on the 1500 tip bar chart with bullish divergence patterns. And this was just before a news event. We just had housing market index just here. And this is kind of the key, this really nice little pattern here. So the market had just sold off fractionally just before that news release. Blue professional bar kind of comes in at the lows, buying that little dip, and then we start to move quickly away from that, and the professionals need to get on board this quickly, so they jump in at this point here. So this little reversal kind of pattern here is just showing the professionals buying that dip and quickly getting on board this move. And then when we find resistance here, the professionals are buying the dip. They weren't on taking profits on the bar before kind of going up. They were buying on the dip here. Then we had a little bit of amateurs kind of selling short. We hold at that level just above where the professionals were getting in. We hold at that level and we kind of race away to the highs with an exhaustion pattern here, pro signal exit right at the highs. Blue professional bar kind of comes in, pull back to end of trend, beautiful high up here exactly at 1340. So it was a nice little trade. I got on board this just after this blue professional bar, kind of during this little dip here, 34.75. Got out with 5 points just underneath this high here. When I saw the pro signal exit, we had a really high reading, about 15,000 on better momentum, and that was the signal. I'd moved my target out, but I just pulled it in by a point and was able to get 5 points on that move. So that was a nice little one, and then start to sell off, and then we kind of test back up into the highs. Blue professional bars around those highs, taking profits again, and then it's kind of, I don't know, gamed a little bit into the close in order to kind of keep the market kind of high. I think we're starting to lose some steam though. Let me just show you on the higher time frame tip bar charts. 40,500 tip bar chart. We've got these kind of news event kind of spikes on these Sunday evenings with Rambo patterns and amateur bars right at these highs here. We've got weaker and weaker buying going on, so we're just trying to find some kind of a top. Are we going to roll over with just weaker buy, or is it going to be some kind of explosive move with exhaustion buying? Not too sure. I think it's looking pretty weak. 4,500 tip bar chart. There's the exhaustion buying, and the bearish divergence kind of comes in, and they just kind of game it up a little bit at the end of the day. 13,500. That was those blue professional bars. We roll over, and we're kind of amateur up bars here, and you can see weaker and weaker buying going on. Kind of coming up to cyclical. I've been talking about this for the last probably about 4 or 5 days. Cyclical resistance kind of coming up. So on the euro here, the euro kind of gapped up with the news out of Greece and then just sold off pretty heavily. We got that turn. This is what I'm looking for. And as I keep on saying, if we're in a downtrend, this will mark quickly and we'll move away from it quickly. And so this is a good sign. This will be a good kind of confirmation if that happens, that we are in a strong move down. Aussie dollar again, we're coming up to that cross going on here. And on the daily indices, you've got the Dow coming up to that move, kind of blue professional bar into the today's kind of activity, or I think that was Friday's activity, today's activity. Pretty narrow range there, and we've got this kind of ready to print. Russell, same thing, ready to print here. We're below support. Support becomes resistance potentially here. This is S&P 500, so it's actually a Rambo pattern on that daily chart there. And NASDAQ again, that cross is kind of coming up, and then support becomes resistance, potentially rolling over. And we've done, we've had quite a lot of buying on better momentum. We're kind of coming back up to kind of decent levels here. so that we've kind of exhausted the buying. It's been really weak, for the last week and a half. And then just the last chart, just on the oscillators. So we're now 163 on better trend, and today's activity was a positive 30 in terms of buying. So although it looked like a fairly strong bar, it wasn't all that convincing, and we got these kind of bearish divergence patterns kind of waiting for this roll. So I'm looking for that, whether it's Tuesday, whether it's Wednesday. Let's kind of wait and see. Hope you traded well. 34.75, long 34.75, and a little bit of a change in direction. So the housing number kind of comes out, blue professional down bar, 1500 tip bar chart. Here we hold blue professional bar, kind of chasing it up, so it's professionals buying in. Just had, rather than taking profits on the way out, the professionals were kind of getting in almost on the way down here. Had amateur kind of down bars here, no profit taken by professionals into that top there, so I think this is going to continue up. And on the 13,500 tip bar chart, support's kind of come in, so that end of trend move that we had on the 1500 down here, pullback to end of trend, basically just overshot. So these short covering rallies, exhaustion buying, so we just kind of found support and kind of changed trend. So that's, I think it's going on rather than a double top kind of being made here. It's kind of weakening at the moment, amateur down bars. So we've got cyclical resistance kind of in on the 1500, so maybe should be waiting for an amateur down bar on 1500, but just kind of getting on any weakness here. Resistance becomes support on the 500 tip bar chart. So here we go, amateur down bar during that kind of move here into that low. So hopefully we'll kind of power through 35s and get going. Okay, hopefully that was it in terms of retracements. Amateur down bars, 1500 tip bar chart coming to support here on the 500. So just kind of broke away. Hopefully that's an amateur down bar on 45. So that was it in terms of a test. Come back to 35 and break through, hopefully. So it's like a change in trend after pullback to end of trend. Then we came in with the exhaustion selling, bullish divergence kind of comes in, then we retest here. So this is kind of short covering rally type stuff. So come along. Okay, we raced away to 35s and then kind of spiked down really quickly into 33s and a half. Blue professional bars kind of coming here on the 500. So hopefully I've got this right, a little bit of a gathering going on here. We need to break back up to 34 and a half to kind of be sure. And it's not doing that right now. Just keep on holding it for a second. I just think these are testing down, amateur down bars here that kind of give you the best indication that we've got a change in trend going on. So we're at 34 and a quarter. Here we go, 34 and a half, bang. Good. So this hopefully was just a little bit of a gathering as we come back. Spike down, professionals use it to get in, breaking back above those professional bars. And hopefully we'll come back up through 35s. Here we go. Amateur up bar, not too concerned about that because it's coming back into a little bit of a vacuum left by this kind of sell-off. So here we go, 35s. And they'll be stopped sitting around 35 and a half to 36. So bingo, there we go. You run them. It's a bit jumpy. Rambo bar here, but blue professional bar kind of through 35s, jumping the creek here. So we're through. We're through resistance on 4500, out resistance on 1500. Flush pattern kind of come in here, but it's not exhaustion buying on the 1500 yet. We're still down at -2s here, so got a fair ways to go. Target's at 38.75. But let's see, might move that out if I've got this really right, and try and get out of the pro signal exit. So let's just see. Just moving my target to 40.75. just because I think we've got ourselves a little bit of a trend move here. It's only 2,000 on better momentum, blue professional bar breaking the highs of that, kind of jumping the creek here. So, and got resistance at 37 on the 500 tip bar chart, so maybe we'll break through that into pullback to end of trend. So maybe we get lucky. It's getting all kind of jumpy as we're breaking, running stops, and people are realizing what the trend direction is and kind of jumpy on board. So let's hope for 40.75. We got to 37, got stopped on our tracks, and I think that's because this previous kind of pivot high, 37.25 pre the open after the sell-off, so that's an important type level. So hopefully we're coming back through it now at 37. We've still got to break into a trend move here on the 500 tip bar chart, so above 37's the go. It's only about 5 or 6,000 we got to on better momentum on 1500, so we've not had the blow off activity to mimic this kind of low, so we're just resting and waiting. Okay, so here we go, blue professional bars coming, a couple on 500, one on 1500 just on this retrace. So we're coming up through 37s, that was just professionals kind of getting on board. Hopefully in expectations of us ripping through 37.25. Flush pattern coming on the 500 tip bar chart, but I'm still holding out, so for another kind of, here we go, 37.25, kind of exhaustion move up here, support kind of come in here. 37.25, and just actually looking at Apple and Facebook. So here's Apple kind of breaking up through resistance here, but it's pretty weak in terms of buying. And then here's Facebook, it's the bottoming pattern that we've made over the last week, and kind of got that breakout really on Friday into Monday. So that was Friday's activity kind of holding out. So here we just kind of came to a bit of a stop of 37s, but it's amateur down bars into 36, testing down 1500, and on the 45 this whole move down was amateur down bars, so hopefully that's just a test. And here's blue professional bar kind of come in, a little bit of strength, need to break above that. Well, we just kind of totally lost it here, just didn't want to get through 37s, kind of come back down, but exhaustion selling, first bullish divergence coming on the 500 tip bar chart. Resistance becomes support, and we've got a cyclical support kind of due on 1500. I mean, I would have thought this advance needed exhaustion buying in order to end, so it's kind of interesting, just kind of got flush patterns, just kind of rolled over from there. Hopefully this is enough, kind of selling down too early for us to kind of get going. There's not any kind of cyclical levels on the higher time frames that would stop this yet. Got a little bit of time to run on the 13,500 tip bar chart, above resistance on the 4,500 tip bar chart. So this has got to play out, so it's come back up, come through here again, 37.5, be a bunch of stops kind of sitting here, so let's keep holding. Okay, here we go, pullback in an uptrend, it's kind of gone 1500 tip bar chart, just have blue professional bars and then amateur down bar here on this little retrace, blue professional bar kind of coming in, so we're going to hopefully break the highs of that, go through 37s, so pull back to end of trend, still not got that exhaustion buying on the 500 or the 1500, so still holding out. Maybe my target's a little bit too far out at 40.75, but let's just wait and see. All of a sudden we've just gone nutso. 38.5, original target's 38.75. Don't know what just happened, maybe a news announcement or something. Target's at 40.75. All of a sudden there's the exhaustion buying going in on the, someone's announced something. So playing out pullback to end of trend, 6,000 on better momentum, so it'd be good to see an exhaustion buying signal and pro signal exit. Let's hope for a little bit more. The original target's been hit, but it's not seen a pullback to end of trend move, so potentially we could break through this one here. But let's just wait and see. Blue professional bar is kind of heading up. It's almost like, that's really jumping the creek. This is more likely to be profit taking up here at the highs, but let's hope for another move up. It's 39.75. Just because blue professional bars come in here at the highs, got 15,000 on better momentum, so let's hope to be just taking out on the next little push. Just out 39.75. Excellent for 5. And the reason I brought in my target was just that there was a big reading on better momentum. We had that blue professional bar kind of going up into the highs. Also had a little one here on the 4,500 tip bar chart. Could go a little bit further here. We've still got to maybe pull back to end of trend on the 500 tip bar chart, but it's pro signal exit. So I wonder what caused that last little pickup. Anyway, so blue professional bars kind of coming in here on the 4,500 tip bar chart. So pull back to end of trend. And on the 13,500 tip bar chart, we've got cyclical resistance here, due blue professional bars kind of coming in here. Now we're in a trend move on the 45, so we've got to make pullback to end of trend on the 45 yet. But excellent. Two trades, 5 points. First trade was a scratch trade. Second one for 5. 30 seconds later, so end of trend's gone off on the 1500 tip bar chart with exhaustion buying up there, so made it to 40, kind of weakening. Bearish divergence kind of come in there, all these blue professional bars here. What's interesting for me is this pullback to end of trend on 1500. Highest time frame kind of associated with that is 13,500 and cyclical resistance here, and we're coming up to 10 AM Chicago time, so I wonder if this is going to make second cyclical turn after end of trend, putting in bearish divergences here, and that kind of plays out to a change in trend for the rest of the day. I suppose we've still got to make pullback to end of trend on the 4,500 tip bar chart, but I'll be curious to see in the morning how that plays out. Anyway, there we go, nicely out at 39.75, because we weakened quite a bit there. It's nice getting out on the rises up rather than fiddling around with these retraces. So there we go.